Hello again. Here's our lesson for Friday the 17th. This is lesson 64. And some reminders at the top. If we're multiplying a plus b times a minus b, whatever a and b are, we get the square of the a, the square of the first thing, minus the square of the second thing. And we have the same thing in both parentheses, same sign and all. We get the square of the first thing. Then we get an AB and an AB a second time, which turns out then that we get 2 times the a times the b for the middle. And the last term is always the b squared, the second thing squared. And a minus b times itself. Get a squared. You can have minus ab again, so minus 2 times the one thing times the other in the middle. But it'll still be minus b times minus b. It'll still be plus b squared at the end. Okay, so start memorizing, looking at these, thinking about them, because they're going to come in handy. Today we're going to factor trinomials like we were doing yesterday, but now the a is not going to be a 1 anymore. It was very easy when it's an a. I'm sorry, when a is a 1. But as soon as a is something else, like a 3, that idea of add up to get b and multiply out to get c, that's not going to work anymore. So what we're going to do today is just trial and error, and then we'll see some other methods next week. Our first guinea pig is 3x squared plus 22x plus 7. And there's only one way to factor 7. And there's only one way to factor 3. 3 times 1, or 7 times 1 for the 7. So why am I saying all this? Whatever we put in these first two positions, multiplying those together is what's going to have to make the 3x squared. And whatever we put in the second two positions, that's what's going to have to make the 7 come out. The trick part is making the middle come out to be 22x. So for instance, if I try, I'll put a 3x there and an x there, and I'll put a 7 there and a 1 there, and everything's plus, so let's use plus signs. What do we get? Well, 3x times x makes the 3x squared. That's a good thing. And then 3x times 1 makes a 3x. And no harm done yet. Now we move on to the 7. 7 times x, we get 7x. And 7 times 1, we get 7. So we got the 3x squared and we got the 7. What's our middle term? It's 7x plus 3x, which would be 10x. We don't want 10x, we need 22x. The only other possibility for factoring this is to still put the 3x there and the x there, but then instead of 7 and 1, put 1 and 7. Let's see what that does. That'll make the 3x squared. And that'll make 21x. And that'll make 1x. And that'll make plus 7. Did this give us what we needed? Yeah, because there's 22x in the middle. 21x plus 1x, there's 22x. So that worked. We did that by trial and error, or guessing and checking, or experimenting, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and there wasn't too many different things to try because these numbers were small and they were prime numbers. 3 and 7 are both prime numbers. Let's try this one. Again, to get a 3x squared, it must be a 3x and an x. And then to get 2, it's either going to be a 1 and a 2 or a 2 and a 1. Let's try the 2 and then the 1. And if that doesn't work, we'll try the 1 and then the 2. So this first one, we get 3x squared. And then we get 3x. And then we get 2x. And then we get 2. So there's the 3x squared and the 2. Very nice. What's in the middle? 5x. That's 5x if you add those together. So that doesn't work. We don't have 5x. We got 7x. Does this one work? There's the 3x squared again. And there's 6x plus 1x and plus 2. So this time there's the 7x in the middle. This does work. That is how that factors. Okay? Getting tired yet? Oh, you will whenever we get down here. Oh my gosh. Don't look down too far. You'll get car sick. For 5x squared, there's only one possibility for that. It's got to be 5x and x. Let me write that in twice. And again, there's a nice 2 at the end, so I could try 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. Let me try 1 and 2, and if that doesn't work, then we'll try 2 and 1. Multiplying first two terms, we get 5x squared and 10x and 1x and 2. And as soon as I got this far, after we do a few of these and you start getting angry, and I don't blame you if you get angry because these are a lot of work. You see 11x coming out, I'm not gonna even bother to finish it, right? How about the next one? Does the next one work? Of course we get the 5x squared. How about the middle? 5x and then 2x. 5x and then 2x and then plus 2 at the end. There is the 7x that we were hoping for in the middle. So that factors that. Okay. Now, why are there so many blanks here? No, don't cry. We'll get through it. For the front end, the only way to get 3x squared is 3x and x. So I'm just going to write 3x and x in all of these blanks. And at least everything's all plus signs, so there's no experimenting with changing plus and minus. We'll get there. Oh boy. Now, how can you get a 20? You could have 1 times 20. Is that the same as if we put the 20 there and the 1 there? No, because the front end is different. You know, swapping those, as you saw up above, that will make a difference if we swap them. What else could we do to get 20? We could have 2 and 10, or 10 and 2. And there's also the possibility of 4 and 5, or 5 and 4. Okay? Now we could just go in order here and try them all, or we could try to maybe streamline the process a little bit in the following manner. We know every one of these is going to make a 3x squared. We don't really need to multiply that out. We know every one of these, 10 times 2, 2 times 10, 4 times 5, they're all going to make the 20. The sticking point is getting the 19 in the middle. And the middle term comes from multiplying the outside terms, they're sometimes called, and then the inside terms, and then adding. So maybe we can do this. I hope this isn't too much of a rush job, but let's just say how much is this? That's 60x plus 1x. 60 plus 1. That's making 61x in the middle. What is it we're trying to get? 19x. Not even close. How about this one? 3x and 20x, 23x. That's a little closer, but we need exactly 19, so no good. Try this one. We get 30x and 2x, 30x and 2x. That's 32x. Nope. What's this one? 6x and 10x. 6 and 10, 16x. It begins to look hopeless, doesn't it? Don't despair. Here's 15, 15x and 4x. 15 and 4. Hallelujah. 19x. There's our winner. Just for the heck of it, let's do this one. That would be 12x and 5x. 12 and 5. This one gives us 17x in the middle. So the correct answer for how does that factor is that one. Trial and error, or guess and check. It can take a long time depending on what the numbers are. So let's do this last one. And to get 4x squared, I could have 4x and x. And if you're getting suspicious, you should be. How can I get a minus 6? I could have a minus 1 and a plus 6, or I could have a plus 1 and a minus 6, or I could have a plus 2 and a minus 3, or I could have a minus 2 and a plus 3. I could swap the order, or I could probably use more spaces than are provided here. All right, but the other thing I want to mention is, in this case, we've got a number in the front that can be obtained different ways. I could have 2x and 2x, couldn't I? 2x and 2x. And to get the 5 to come out in the middle, oh boy. Well, let's just try a few of these. And again, we know all these are going to come out 4x squared. They're all going to come out negative 6. What's the middle going to be here? 24 and minus 1. 24x and minus 1x. 23x in the middle. Minus 24 and then plus 1. That'll be minus 23x in the middle. Minus 12 and plus 2, minus 10x in the middle. Or plus 12 and minus 2, plus 10x in the middle. Now what we learn from this little part right here is changing the signs doesn't change the absolute value of the coefficient. It just changes the sign. See, 23 became negative 23. Negative 10 became positive 10. If I put the 3 there and the 2 there instead, maybe that would get me the 5 in the middle. I don't know. Well, let's play around some more down here. If I try a, say a 1 there and a minus 6, is that going to work? That's 2x squared. I'm sorry, that's 4x squared. And there's the minus 12 and the plus 2. That's not going anywhere. Let me get rid of one of these, because I think what actually works, we sort of skipped over up above. If I put a 4x there and an x there, let me just think for a second here. If I put a 6 and a 2, 6, 2, no, 3, yes, okay. I knocked it out in my brain. Make this plus 2 minus 3. Okay, see we had those numbers up here, but in reverse order. Make it 4x minus 3, x plus 2. What does this do? That makes the 4x squared, but then that makes plus 8x and minus 3x. There's your 5x in the middle. There's your 5x in the middle. So, what I'm trying to sell you today is that trial and error, if the numbers are really simple, front and back, it's not a bad method. As soon as the numbers have more than one way to multiply and get them, you know, as soon as they're not prime numbers, and imagine something like a 24 at the end and you know, 16 at the front. You could be there all day. So trial and error has its limited usefulness. We need a better method, and we'll get one next week. So at least it's just one page today. You guys have a nice, safe weekend. Take care.